great point. I actually think the industry minister, Clement's been pretty focused right now on digital strategies, and much of it is being driven by that precise concern. And I know that, you know, a number of times when I've done pieces that focus on the situation for wireless in Canada, for example, there's a lot of attention to our high data pricing when the iPhone first made it into Canada, and a lot of talk about how we simply weren't competitive. I think it crystallized for many people just how bad things were. And the number of software engineers and smaller software companies who indicated that the Canadian market simply wasn't a viable market in which to innovate because the pricing was just far too high, and so that if you were thinking of bringing a new product to market or service to market, you just weren't going to do it here. And so there were some who were still willing to do some of the R&D in Canada because they thought there was talent, but increasingly you see that shifting away too. And so not only do you lose the potential, not only do you lose sort of much of that potential to be a first mover and see some of that development, but eventually you get a brain drain with some of the most talented people going to the marketplaces that can support that kind of innovation. And so I think Jacob's point around the potential for spectrum reform is really apt here, because I think the government did a pretty good job under the circumstances in terms of how far they might have otherwise gone. I suppose with the last spectrum auction, raised a lot of money, didn't go to anything particularly interesting, but raised a lot of dough, and at least they had to set aside. But the next time really is the big one, and I think that was recognized in the United States as well, partly because it's big spectrum, because it's very good spectrum, partly as well because the U.S. now has begun to move towards some of this openness as well. And we at a minimum ought to meet that, but I think we ought to try to exceed it as well to make us sort of a sandbox where companies might say Canada's the place to try to innovate because they've created the kind of framework that really facilitates it.
So to the moderator's point, which is what are the items that we could look forward as a political agenda, I would like one of them to be, we suggest that we deal with this not just as a social policy issue, but considering that economic policy is so prime in terms of the government's focus right now, that we deal with it as a very serious industrial development issue.
I think that's a really good point, and I've heard that point a lot in people I've talked to, that we need to do it from there. Okay, I have one person here, and did I miss someone up here? No, I have a person here, and then Robert. Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to get the panelists' comments.
Oops. This lady here.
Oh, sorry, her.
Okay. Yes, I'll get you third. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, this might not be a political agenda question. It's very basic. How does someone know that their site that they're being throttled? Or how does an ordinary internet user know?